Scotland, home of the most beautiful scenery with lochs, castles, highland coos, and of course the incredible show Outlander. So grab a dram and join me as I show you how I made one of Claire's outfits from Season 1, Episode 5. The blue bodice and green skirt combo, and also the brown cloak as one needs to keep warm in Scotland. I had been dreaming of going to Scotland for years, and it finally happened this year in May, right around bluebell season. I got my cloak fabric from the Stitch Festival, my green wool skirt fabric from the original Reenactors Market, and the blue bodice fabric from Artisans Reenactors Market. Luckily, I had a pattern I could use for the bodice from the same era. This kind of outfit is known as undress wear. The term is used to refer to informal garments of this time, and I'm sure it's very practical for riding. I fused part of the bodice to stop it from stretching at the front and under the armhole. I then bagged it out with the blue polka dot fabric I had, which I then overlocked as one. I did a stay stitch around the front opening and the neckline to stop the polka dots from showing through. And this is done by folding the seam allowance to the back and machining it down close to the seam. At this point, I had 4 days to make the whole outfit, including the cloak, before we left for Scotland, so I did cut corners a little bit. I shortened my original skirt pattern and lined the peplum skirt with some denim I had, bagging it out from the hem. You can see from Claire's skirt that it's got 2 box pleats at the front and then knife pleats around the sides. I made my skirt out of one long piece of fabric, about 3 meters, with an opening at the centre back. Once I'd worked out the size of the pleats, I top stitched them down and overlocked the edge. I then added a cotton tape to the waistband. As I didn't have much time, I just finished it off with an overlocked hem. For the stomacher, I fused the top fabric with this fusible buckram and then bagged it out with the cotton lining. I sewed down the boning channels and then overlocked the top edge and herringbone stitched it down. little squeal from a true Outlander fan. I was so happy to see Lallybroch for the first time, and the weather was perfect. To complete the look, I commissioned the lovely Jane from Hats Period to make me a woolen capelet. For the cloak you need a few measurements, the length from the neck to the floor, front, side and back, and the neck measurement where it will sit. I've made many cloaks in my career, mostly from The Witcher, but never my own, so I was pretty excited. I took the neck measurement and halved it and made a quarter circle pattern. I used about 3 meters for the cloak, which was cut from a half circle. Then using my neck to floor measurements, I could cut the length out from front to back. I may not be the best at explaining things, so here is a great reference from Liz Hayward's Dress Up Cape, and I'll link her website in the description for you. To stop the fabric stretching at the neckline, I added a fusible tape and did some top stitching to hold it in place. For the hood, I measured roughly how big I wanted it to be so that it would hang nicely on the shoulders. I then transferred all the measurements to my pattern. The hood could then be gathered into the neckline, and this cool little trick is handy to hold your gathered thread in place until you have stitched it together. I lightly stab stitched the front facings down, as it's such a thick wool it hardly shows through. So with the big hook and eye at the neckline, the cloak is done. It's quite a heavy wool, so it doesn't hang as nicely as I wanted it to, but I'm still happy with it. After exploring Glencoe and seeing the beautiful locations of the Isle of Skye, we headed out to the Isle of Lewis and Harris as we heard that there were some pretty cool standing stones out there. And of course one of the Harris tweed mills, which we had a little tour in. It was so fascinating to see how it all worked. He even let us jump into the soft wool. And of course, I had to get a little souvenir. As everything had been switched off for the day, we headed out to find a weaver at work at Glannan Black House Village, and he even let me have a go, reluctantly. And here we have a little montage of how not to get dressed in this costume. There was a lot of car park changing on this trip. I couldn't bear to take any clothes off because it was so cold and windy. My shawl is from the TheWitchesCabin shop on Etsy, and oh my gosh, it was cozy. I hope you've enjoyed this Scottish sewing adventure with me. I just can't wait to go back again. Oh, look at that time travelling, I'm back.